What is up? Welcome to another edition of SacTown Movie Buffs. Once again, I'm Kier, and this is Jason, and we are back finishing off our top 10 films of every year series that we started last year. So we started with 1995 when we first met, and we've been basically going up through the years, which has taken us, I don't know, like a year and a half to basically 2 years almost to complete or something. Something crazy like that. But we're finally on the last year, which is 2018. And the reason why is because we've already done 2019. We did that. That was our first ever show, was for our top 10 films of 2019. And then we did 2020 sometime earlier this year. So this is the last year for this series. We really haven't done. It's been a while since we even did the 2017. So
months, I think.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was getting tired of doing them for a while, but I mean, now because we've taken such a long break since we've done them, it doesn't feel as bad. It doesn't feel like a chore to do this show. So,
no,
it actually works out at the end of the day. So,
yeah, I think this project was my idea, and I still, still think it was a good idea, but when I don't think we realized at first that because we tend to go on and on, we had to split the shows up by number 6 through 10 and number 1 through 5. And then because it was 25 years, that means it was 50 shows,
That's a lot.
So I didn't realize that when I had the idea, but this is I just 49 out of 50 tonight.
Yeah.
So we're almost there.
Yeah. I mean, when we did it initially, we thought we would just do both of us do our top 10, in the entire series, and, it would take 30 minutes to get through and we would be done. But that's clearly not the case, because we've had just some of the half shows, just the 10 through 6 or 5 through 1 have gone on for forever. So so this will be the bottom half of it. And then we didn't do did we do a challenge film for 2019? I don't even remember what they were.
Not for 19, but for 18 we did. Yeah.
Don't we do it for the next year though, or did we do it for the same year? I couldn't remember now.
No, we would start out with we would start out with it tonight.
Oh, so I don't even remember what those films were. Do you?
I remember what mine was.
What was yours again?
Den of Thieves.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have the foggiest idea right now what mine.
I don't remember what I assigned to you either.
Well, if I remember it during the course of this conversation, I'll bring it in. But I don't remember it, so maybe we do it on the second half of the show, so I can go back and research what the heck that was. So whatever it was, it didn't make my top 10, and I don't think Den of Thieves is making yours. So, so maybe we just push for the other one. I think I have it somewhere. I just have to look it up again, and I just don't remember off the top of my head. So
I have no clue what it was. It was 2 months ago now. Something.
So for all intents and purposes, I say we just start with the top 10, and then we could just maybe I'll plug it in the next show if I can figure out what that one was. So I know I have it written down somewhere. I just don't remember where I put it now. So. Well, I say without further ado, I say we just get right into it. So we'll go ahead and kick off our top 10 of 2018. So once again, this is the bottom half. So this will be number 10 through number 6, and then we'll come back and we'll do a second show, which will be number 5 through 1, and then if we have some honorable mentions, we can do that as well.
Right. Yeah, and we'll try to be quick.
Yeah. Well, we'll go ahead and start with your number 10, if you're cool with that. So I'll go ahead and bring that in. And your number 10 film for 2018 is going to be Ready Player One.
Yep, Ready Player One. I love this movie. I will admit that I have not read the book, because I know a lot of people who read the book did not care for the movie. Personally, that doesn't really bother me, because I mean, that's always going to happen. Anybody who reads any book is probably going to have a lot of issues with the film version. But I would think even if I had read the book, I could, appreciate them as separate entities. I mean, enjoy them both on their own terms. And having not read the book, I can definitely say the Ready Player One is, as its own, it's a good movie on its own. It's very dramatically satisfying. It's very funny. It's very entertaining. It's got some great special effects. I love the way they mix around all that like pop culture iconography. I'm always a big fan of whenever somebody takes something out of its normal context and puts it into another. So I just, I love the idea of Freddy Krueger and the Iron Giant on the same battlefield. You know what I mean? It's just cool. It had a good soundtrack. It had likable characters. It's good to see that Steven Spielberg can still kind of, make you, do something this imaginative and this fun. So yeah, I love Ready Player One. It's redundant to say I love it because it's in my top 10 of the year, so obviously I love it. But I love Ready Player One. How about you?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I liked it quite a bit. It didn't quite make my top 10. It's in my honorable mention, but I did like it quite a bit. I did buy it. I don't know if I had any issues with it or anything like that. I just didn't make my top 10 for that year. But there's just films that I clearly like more than Ready Player One. So, but it would have been close. It would have been probably like 11 or 12 or something like that. So it just missed the cutoff for me. So no, great film, great choice. So no qualms about that. So you're just a couple spots too high is all. So
okay, I'll make note of that.
Yeah, so don't let that happen again. So, I'll go ahead and bring in my number 10 film for 2018, and that is going to be Upgrade. So just a really just gritty action film with like head splatters and just it's just a crazy film just about a guy that's basically almost kind of like an engineered Terminator in a way. Yeah, he basically has like this chip implanted in his head that basically turns him to like this lean, mean like fighting machine or whatever, and just goes through and like basically destroys people. Like part like bionic and that sort of stuff, and then also is fighting other people that also are like enhanced individuals, if you will. So yeah, just really really funny film, and it's also kind of told through almost through like sometimes through like first person player kind of situation, and it's like and like he's like basically having conversations with like the chip in his head as he's like doing things like, why am I fighting like this, what's happening, so no, I just loved it. I just thought it was a really 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 good really gritty film. Definitely one that I don't know if there would be a sequel, but if there was, I would definitely check that out. So that is my number 10, Upgrade.
Excuse me. Yeah, and I love Upgrade. Yeah, it's fantastic. I think 2018 must have been a really good year because I looked at the ones that are going to be in my bottom 10 that you sent me because I sent them to you months ago when we were originally supposed to record this, and I was like, most of those I was like, wow, that was in the bottom half of my top 10, and like Upgrade, didn't even make the top 10, but I love that movie. It's definitely top runner up. It's just a really cool. Super bloody, super violent, very R-rated sci-fi action movie, and it kind of reminds me of, everything is trying to be PG-13 these days, or a lot of things are, right. So it's always good to see, just kind of like the Resident Evil movie I went to see the other day. It was like it's a very very R-rated movie when the other ones, which I like, the other Resident Evil movies were all PG-13, and they were fine. But this was like, it really goes for it, and this is the same kind of movie. It reminds me of movies like other like really bloody, sci-fi movies of the 80s, like Total Recall or RoboCop. It's very much in that kind of vein.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a blast. Love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, moving right along to your number 9 film, and I'll bring that in for you, and that is going to be, Won't You Be My Neighbor? Sorry. I didn't.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, a movie that would definitely be a good double feature with Upgrade for sure.
Yeah.
Now,
very similar films.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Now this is actually a documentary. It's a really good documentary, basically about about Mr. Rogers, and the show, the Mr. Rogers's show that was, I think we probably all grew up watching at least a little bit, on public access. But it's kind of a hard movie to make sound cool, I guess. But it's, if you like documentaries, it's one of the best I've seen in years, honestly. And I wouldn't call myself a Mr. Rogers super fan or anything like that, but But I was amazed by, how much of that show I remembered, having not seen it since I was like, 6 or something like that. But it really does lodge itself into your brain, in a good way. But it's just a really touching documentary that I would highly recommend. I mean, there's nothing else to talk about, really. I mean, it's just like it's a documentary about Mr. Rogers. There's not much else to say, but it's just really, really, really good. Is all I can say. So if you want like 90 minutes that you're guaranteed to be moved by and laugh and have a good time with, I would highly recommend this movie for sure.
Yeah. I've actually yet to see this. It's like one of the ones that's been on my list. Just, I don't know. I have to just kind of get myself up to even want to see it. Not that it's bad or I think it's going to be bad. It's
Yeah.
just, I mean, he's, I'm sure he was I've watched as a kid too, and I'm sure his life was interesting. He's just so vanilla that it's hard for me to like get myself jazzed about seeing a documentary about Mr. Rogers. And I didn't see the Tom Hanks version either. So if there's that, but there's actually people that like that. It didn't get like the worst reviews or anything, but yeah, I didn't see either one of them. So, I just haven't gotten around to it. So, but maybe someday, I'm sure. So,
yeah. You should. I mean, the Tom Hanks one was okay. It wasn't anything special, but the documentary I thought was like, it's interesting how you say that, because it's like he's so vanilla that he's almost like punk rock. You know what I mean? He's like, he goes so far that way that it almost comes back around the other way. So it's, what I mean?
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm sure I'll definitely check it out at some point. I just personally haven't gotten around to it, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens in the future. So cool. All right. Well, moving on to my number 9 film, which is going to be Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So really, really enjoyed it. Great animated feature. And quite frankly, and I know there's a lot of people that will take issue with it, but and I think you probably agree with this as well. I actually enjoyed better than most of pretty much all of the Spider-Man films that have come out in recent years, or the last 20 some years. Personally, the ones with Tobey Maguire and the new ones and the middle ones with Andrew Garfield, I believe. I actually enjoyed this better than most of them. I just thought it was just fun, more imaginative. I liked that they had, different Spider-Mans from different universes that came in that had different, skills and things of that nature. I just thought it was a really just good, fun film. It's a kind of film that not only and there's also some consequences in the film as well. And I always love animated features that can show that also. I just kind of love films that, that both kids can enjoy, but also it's got a lot of adult themes to it as well. And so it's like one that, and I wouldn't say young kids necessarily I would suggest this for, maybe like preteen to teenagers, but I like that it can, it can cross different, age groups, I guess, if you will. So, but definitely a really, really good, animated feature. And that's why it's in my number 9 spot for this year. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's excellent. Excellent movie. It's actually a little bit further up in my top 10. But I think it's, might as well just talk about it now. I think it's, it's probably, I think it is my favorite Marvel movie. And I know some people will say that it's not, I think it was a co-production between Marvel and someone else, and it's not canon, or whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know. But it's my favorite movie with the Marvel stamp on it.
Yeah.
I'll put it that way.
I mean, so I'm just going to say real quick. I mean, we're obviously, we enjoy films, we critique films, we watch films, but I don't think either one of us get too involved in the whole, who owns the rights and this, that, and the other, and that, and this. Yeah. And I know there's people that get involved in that, and I just never get into those debates personally. I don't really care. You know what I mean? Who? Yeah. Is technically, Spider-Man is technically still a Marvel character, if you will. So, whatever the argument is, and I know he was owned by Sony, and all this other stuff. I just don't get involved in that because it's just, I don't know, it just gets kind of redundant to get in that, and there's always going to be somebody. Well, technically, Sony owned the rights to that film. You know what I mean? I just, yeah, I don't know. It just gets silly. It's just kind of like, trying to show your superiority of movie knowledge over somebody because that Sony owned the rights and they bought this or they had to do a cross, production or something of that nature. I just, I don't know. I just don't see a point in it personally. So
Yeah,
just,
same here. And if it's true that like if Sony gets the credit for this movie, then Marvel needs to step up their game because they've never put out a movie that good. And I'll
yeah.
say that as a fan of, I like a lot of, I'm not a Marvel fanatic. I'm not a comic book fanatic at all, but
Same.
they've made a lot of good movies, but I've never seen one of the canon Marvel movies that I've wanted to watch like 5 times. I've watched this movie like 5 times, and it's just really good. Like I didn't even want to see it really, like I've got superhero fatigue. I've had it for 5 years probably, and it's like an animated Spider-Man movie, big deal, who cares? But I went to see it and it ended up like just blowing me away, and it blows me away a little more every time I watch it. It's just so imaginative and so cool and fun, and it's got really profound themes, like you mentioned, a lot of depth to it, and like a lot of like epic sweep to the final big battle scene and everything. Like it's every bit as good as any live action movie I've ever seen, if not better. Yeah, I think this is great, and I do I like the Tom what's his name, Tom Holland, what is his
Tom Holland.
I like I really like him as Spider-Man. I've liked all of the movies he's been the center of. Andrew Garfield, I liked the first one, hated the second one, but I always liked him as an actor. Tobey Maguire, I haven't seen those ones in 20 years, but I remember liking the first two. So I have Spider-Man movies have a pretty good track record with me, but I think this one blows all of them out of the water, honestly. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know that I am going to say I love them more than all the Spider-Man films. I don't know because I haven't seen some of them in so many years. So because this one's more fresh and recent memory. I do know that I like this one more than some of the Tom Holland ones that I've seen recently. But I don't, and I probably would say the Andrew Garfield ones as well. I wasn't as jazzed about those ones as you were, especially the second one. But I don't know about.
I didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't like the second one at all. And the first one I thought was pretty good, So the second one was awful though. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the first two, the first two Tobey Maguire ones, I like those ones a lot. So I just haven't seen them in almost 20 some years. So I'd have to rewatch them again, to really wrap my head around where they rank at. So because we've been churning out so many Spider-Man films, I just haven't had a reason to go back and revisit those ones. So but we'll see what happens in the future. So cool.
Yep.
All right, moving right along. Your number 8 film is going to be Hereditary.
Hereditary, yes. So Hereditary, to me, is one of the best and most original horror films to come out in the last few years. Anybody who watches this knows I'm a big horror fan, so I'm always on the lookout for a new up and coming talent. And this, to me, this was like a major announcement of a new filmmaker, Ari Aster. I think this movie it's super creepy. It's super unique. It's extremely well acted. Like Toni Collette just blows the roof off in this movie, I think. And Alex Wolff is also really good too, who was in Jumanji, and he's been in several things since then. Actually, the one that we may record after this, a review of Pig. So but I think it's just a really well acted, atmospheric, super creepy, super unpredictable. You could never watch the beginning of this movie and have the faintest inkling of where it ends up. I'll put it that way. So, I know it's not for every taste, including yours. But I really love this movie. I watched it, I think, 3 times now. And it's one of those, it truly is one of those where each viewing, it kind of builds for you. Because you notice so many little details that second time I noticed so many details that I missed the first time. Third time I noticed so many details that I missed the second time. So it really is like a little miniature new horror masterpiece, I think. So I love this movie. And again, that shows you if it's number 8 on the top 10 for 2018, that must have been a pretty good year. So that's my number 8. Go ahead. Knock on it.
You already know. I just wasn't a big fan of this one or the other one that came out that the director was in Midsummer.
Midsummer, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of either one of those really. They just I don't know. To me, and we've already had this conversation. I mean, they're a little weird, the pace is a little bit slower than I like in a horror film overall. And then I felt like it was one of those horror films where they went for like, graphic image over actual horror for me. So I was never really scared. It was more of the graphic imaging that they used for certain scenes for me. So I don't know. It just didn't do much for me. It didn't resonate with me. And I know I'm not the only one that's in that category. But it just wasn't for me. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Hey man, it's okay if you couldn't take it. It's all right. No shame in that.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. I couldn't take it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You know me, man. When the horror movies come out, I just woo.
I know.
No, it just wasn't for me. All right, well, moving right along, I'm bringing my number 8 film, which is going to be Amazing Grace, which is an Aretha Franklin documentary, but not the one that just came out that I still have yet to see. So this one is
that's not a documentary.
Oh yeah, that's a film. I'm sorry. Yeah. Sorry. That's not a documentary. It's just a film. But this is an actual documentary, and it's basically set. It basically takes place, I think, in the 70s. I can't remember the exact year. But basically, it's set in Los Angeles at a church where her father and Aretha Franklin herself went and basically performed a concert at this church. And this was kind of like she had already had some hits, but I don't know if she was like the queen of soul at this particular point in her career. She was still relatively young in this film, in this documentary, and it's just an amazing concert. Just hearing her voice and it's live. She's singing live, and you could just hear just like her voice just like personified through like the entire choir or congregation, if you will, throughout the church. And like it just kind of like went up into the rafters. Her singing was just so good, and it's just amazing just hearing her sing like live like that. And somebody that never really got to see her like live in concert, and I would have wanted to see her live, maybe when she was a little younger, of course. But no, I just really enjoyed the film. Well, I don't, at the singer's age, their voices tend to get a little more raspy, and I heard that a little bit about her as she got older in age, and that's just the nature of the beast as they get older. When they're not necessarily in their prime, I guess, if you will, and but definitely a really
ageism.
That's right, ageism. But no, I definitely enjoyed this quite a bit and thought it was an amazing film and just an amazing documentary for me. So.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And it's really interesting because it's such an amazing performance. But like, I don't remember why. I don't know the full story on it, but it was never released while she was alive because she didn't want it to be released. Like, I don't know the whole story, but she didn't want this released. And it's amazing because it's such an amazing performance. And I can't imagine why she wouldn't have wanted it released, and it didn't get released until after she died, of course. Which, I mean, I always feel kind of weird when someone, when they die, their family or their estate or whoever just releases all the stuff that they never want it released. I have it's kind of a weird thing to do, but in this case, I'm glad they did because I can't understand why she wouldn't have wanted it released. But yeah, excellent performance, excellent documentary.
I mean, I get I get what you're saying. It's like kind of like against their wishes for whatever reason, but without knowing the reason why. And a lot of times it's just financial reasons. I know with like Prince, he didn't want his stuff like on Spotify and things of that nature. Just for various personal reasons and things of that nature. So I personally I understand what you're saying, and in some cases I definitely side with the artist. You shouldn't go against their wishes, but it's like she was there. She recorded it. She made the concert. She knew it was being recorded. Yeah. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, so I don't really have any bones one way or another about that, because you willingly participated in that. And, and if the concert was today, at a church, I can imagine that half the people in the congregation would have their cell phones out and be recording it anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like one of those things is like, yeah. So I don't know. So like I said, I don't know the rhyme or reasons why she didn't want it out there. It could have been a monetary reason, could have been something completely different. I don't know. But for whatever the reason, I'm glad that it got released because it was an amazing documentary.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Same here. I'm glad I don't know what her reason was, but I'm glad, I'm glad it's out now, hopefully she is too.
Well,
wherever she may be.
Yeah, wherever she may be. All right, moving on to your number 7 film. I'll bring that in, and that is going to be 8th Grade.
Oh yeah, 8th Grade. So this is kind of another one that's hard. It's hard to describe in a way that'll get somebody excited about it. Really, because I mean, it's like, oh, it's a coming of age movie because there's 8,000 of those released a year. It seems like about a girl in 8th grade. And it's like, great, sounds fantastic. I try to get people into watching this movie, but it really is just a great movie. It's funny. It's moving. It is provocative in a lot of ways. It goes pretty deep in a lot of ways that I didn't expect it to at first. And the music's good, and it's got like the interplay between the actress. Oh, I'm blanking on her name right now, unfortunately.
Elsie Fisher.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Elsie Fisher and the guy who plays her dad, which I'm also blanking on his name. But the interplay between them is just so genuine and so good. And it's I know coming of age movies are a dime a dozen, but it really is one of the best I've seen in many, many years. And again, it's a testament to 2018 that it's this low on my top 10 because I just watched it like a year ago and it just blew me away all over again. So yeah, love it. Great movie.
Cool. Yeah, I barely remember anything about it, to be honest with you. So I don't remember hating it or anything like that, but I definitely didn't love it as much as you did. I think I liked it, but I don't think I went crazy over it. So I don't think that it even. No, I didn't make my honorable mentions or anything. So, yeah, to me, it was another coming of age film that was okay. And I've seen so many of them that I don't know. I guess they all just kind of run together for me, for the most part. But yeah, I don't have anything negative to say. I just haven't seen it in, probably since whenever I saw it. Maybe it was 2018 or 19 or something of that nature. But it just was one of those ones that I saw. Said it was pretty good, and then I guess just continue living my life. I guess so.
I thought you really liked this one. I thought you gave it like 4 out of 5, which is huge for you or something. You might want to watch it again, man. It's really darn good.
It sure isn't in my top 10. That's for sure. If I get 4 out of 5, I should have been there. But I don't know. So, yeah, like I said, I don't know. Maybe I'll watch it again and reevaluate things. But yeah. Clearly, I don't remember a lot about it, so it must not have stuck with me over the years. That's for sure. So, but yeah, cool.
I remember we had a long discussion about what year it belonged in. Remember, something like that. Anyway,
yeah, I feel like we had that discussion about a lot of films though, because we're
all you wanted to claim it for 2019 because you saw it in 2019 or something, and I had to send you the proof that I saw it at the Tower in 2018 or something like that. I don't know.
Sounds like something that could have happened. So, all right. Well, moving right along to my number 7, I guess. So no, maybe I'll rewatch that one. We'll see what happens. But it clearly didn't make my top 10. So, but maybe it'll be in my honorable mentions when I see it again. Who knows? Moving on to my number 7, and that is going to be. I got the wrong image here. It's A Quiet Place, but unfortunately, I put it in The Quiet Place too, so that didn't quite work for me. So I don't know.
Quality control, Kier. Quality control.
Right. That's right. Well, I downloaded these like 2 months ago or something, so I don't know what happened back when we were originally supposed to do this show. So when I went back in to look, I just saw that I had downloaded a bunch of photos. So it should be a Quiet Place Part 1, but it
So
says
so
Quiet
you
Place.
had 2 months to notice it and fix it, is what you're saying.
Well,
So
we weren't recording a show, so there wasn't a point in me going back and noticing it and fixing it. But in any event, A Quiet Place is definitely my number 7 film of 2018. So yeah, I just really enjoyed it. Especially for a film where they're pretty much whispering the entire film. But enjoyed the monsters, had great horror to it. It was very scary and just kind of surreal. So I really enjoyed it. I mean, most people have seen a Quiet Place and enjoy it and love it as well. So, I don't have to go too crazy into the plot line of it, but basically it's about alien invasions, if you will. And people are basically, the survivors on Earth are basically hiding from these giant monsters that are essentially thought to be unkillable. They try to shoot them, they try to nuke them, everything of that nature, and they continue to survive. But yeah, just a really good story, and it's basically mostly just about the family. This family, like the husband and wife and their kids, and like basically trying to survive and kind of being on the run and trying to figure out how they're going to survive this alien invasion, basically. So, but very scary, very good film. And that is my number 7 film of 2017 or 18. Sorry.
yeah, it's a great movie, awesome movie. No need to go into detail because pretty much everybody has seen this movie, and most people enjoy it, including me. A lot. I love it. It's must have been a really good year because it didn't quite make my top 10, but it would definitely be listed in the runner-ups for sure. Yeah, good choice.
Cool. All right. Moving right along to your number 6 film, which we've already essentially covered, so should be pretty easy. It's going to be Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yep. I think I already said everything I wanted to say about this one. It's excellent movie. And I'm repeating myself now, but I was a little surprised when you sent me the list that I sent you a month ago when we were going to do this, that it was that low, because I genuinely, that's genuinely one of my favorite movies. So the fact that I don't even remember what my 1 through 5 are, but they must be pretty damn good, because if this was 6, then 1 through 5 must be straight up masterpieces. But they always are for my top 10s. So
yeah, I don't know what your top 5 half looks like because you haven't sent them to me yet, but I'm looking at my top 5, and I got to imagine that a few of those films that are in my top 5 are going to be in yours as well. So,
if they were good, then probably, yeah. I mean, with your top 10, there's a major if factor,
Yeah, because it's like it's if they were good or if they were amazing, and they're all amazing. So that's where the if factor comes right into play.
Sure. Yeah.
All right, well, we won't spend any more time on that one. We'll get right into my number 6 film of 2018, and that is going to be Creed 2. Really enjoyed that one. Thought it was great. I've always been a big fan of the Rocky series in general. And I also like that, it kind of is moving on because obviously Rocky's too old to be boxing. It kind of is finally moving on, although who knows, because he was, it wasn't that long ago. He was in a boxing film, and boxing, and I don't know, Rocky 17 or something. I don't know, but it's good to see that, he's kind of like more of a trainer, coach in the Creed series, basically. And then obviously, if you watch the first Creed, it's about Apollo Creed's illegitimate son, I guess, if you will. But in this one, it's kind of carrying on basically him, going into the ring and having to fight. In this case, he's fighting Ivan Drago's son, I believe, in this one. So that's kind of like the big head-to-head fight that they're setting up for. Just a really great story. Like I said, I like both of these films, and generally like all of the Rocky series films as well. As being a big boxing fan, just like these films are right up my alley. So, and that is my number 6 film of 2018, Creed 2.
Cool. I don't remember much about Creed 2, to be honest. I do remember liking it. I gave it a positive review, and I think it's a really good callback to have Ivan Drago back in there, because I think most people our age, if Rocky 4 isn't our favorite, it's pretty close.
Yeah.
Because yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you got to keep in mind, most people our age, like the first one came out like in '77 or something like that, or so it was like,
I wasn't even born yet.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And then the second one was also like in the early '80s, and then even Rocky 3 was kind of like in the
83, I
early,
think.
yeah, early to mid '80s, but we're still relatively young. I mean, most of us remember Rocky 4 as being kind of like our Rocky, for our generation, anyways. So for kids that
Yeah,
are, people that are born in that generation that we're in, I think Rocky 4 was kind of like our film. So I always love Rocky 4. Most people I know my age, that's their favorite Rocky film. But I know there's people that will say, well, the first Rocky was amazing, and I have no problem with it. But just I think for our generation, the original Rocky was a little bit before our time, and I probably didn't even watch the original Rocky for I don't know what age I was when I first saw it, but it was probably after I've seen Rocky 4. So that's the one that I kind of have come to know and love. So yeah.
yeah. Same here. I mean, that came out when we were 7 or 8, around there. So
Yeah.
I know I saw it in the theater. I saw it a few times in the theater. I know, and like I'm not even, I'm not that into boxing. I'm not that into sports in general, but that movie, I just love it. You know what I mean? It's so much fun. I know, it was just the right age for us too. You know what I mean? Like still to this day, I can totally see him in my head, like carrying that big log through the snow.
Right. Yeah.
Like all the great training montages and the
They show
James
that,
Brown scene.
then it was cut to Ivan Drago like getting steroids injected.
Yeah. Ooh, those dirty Russians. You know what I mean? Like, and it is totally like it is very like xenophobic in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For
Like,
sure. Yeah.
the Russians are all evil robots. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
but it was
I can see
also
that now.
the Cold War and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean it's one of
Yeah.
those things. So yeah, no,
Yeah, I didn't care about that when I was 7 or 8, and probably if I was older, I would say like, this is just jingoism and all that, but whatever, it's fine. Ivan Drago's a great character. If he dies, he dies, and the James Brown scene, So yeah, so that was great to have him in the new Creed movie as like a callback to a lot of people's favorite Rocky movie. But like beyond that, I don't remember it too much, to be honest. But I remember it being good. That's about it. And that's the most important thing, I guess. So good choice.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that wraps up our bottom half of our top 10. Like I said, if none of the films that you put in your top 10 were featured in this, hopefully some of them were. We'll be coming back with another show, which will, like I said, will be our number 5 through number 1, and then hopefully have some honorable mentions. And then I'll also do a little research on what film you assigned to me. Maybe I'll just cover that in the next show as well. So I just can't remember what it was off the top of my head, but I'll sure do some.
Me neither.
If I can find it. And then, as always, let us know down in the comments, if you liked any of these films, didn't like these films. And then, of course, we ask that you like, subscribe, make sure you hit that bell notification so you don't miss our updates. And we'll be back again soon with another show for you guys. We thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. Bye.
Bye.